I pooped.
How'd it feel?
So good. It was really hard, actually. It took me like 10 minutes even just to get it out, but pooped a good poop.
Job.
I'm very excited about that.
That's great.
Welcome back, everyone. If you haven't seen my 2 previous videos, make sure you go check them out. In those videos, I told you why I got surgery, a little bit about me, my injury history, and then I also, in the last video, told you guys my tips and tricks for pre-surgery and also kind of post-surgery to help make that whole process and transition from your home to the hospital, back home again, as just seamless and easy as possible. Now, let's get into the juicy stuff, the actual surgery itself. Now, hopefully this will be the most invasive and intense surgery you've ever had. And so, of course, without going through it, you're not going to know a lot of what happens within it. And in my experience, the surgeons, doctors, and medical teams don't really give you as much information as I would have liked to have before surgery. Just like how much time it's going to take, what your pain will really be like, and just the ins and outs of everything. There also are pretty much no videos on YouTube that talk about the actual hospital experience. So I thought I'd make this video to help us all out. Like everything else in your spinal surgery journey, you need to be your biggest advocate. You need to be the one checking with all parties like insurance, doctors, your PCP, your physical therapist, your pharmacist, and just making sure everybody's on the same page as far as when your surgery is, if it's actually even approved, and where all your medications and things are gonna go once you've had it. I say this because in my case, I had fought for about 3 months to get insurance, 3 months to get on the operating table. I get to the day of my surgery. I fasted for like 20 hours. I have a pad on. All my piercings are taken out and I have like 13, so that's a lot. I'm in a gown and then they tell me that my surgery wasn't approved.
Major stoppage in the process. I'm going to turn you over to Atlee Feingold to tell you what is happening in this fucked up place.
My insurance didn't authorize the surgery, which they just found out now, as I'm one door away from actually getting surgery, and all the doctors are ready to give surgery and want to. And they're all here ready, and they can't even do their job. Because
Right through that door is surgery.
So, this is just a perfect example of corrupt capitalism running people's lives. A company is deciding whether or not I can fix myself. They've never met me. They know nothing of my pain. They haven't walked me to all my stupid PT classes and all the doctors that I've met and all the countless hours that I spent at a doctor's office. They don't care. They're just looking at a computer system, whether or not I check all their fucking boxes. And it's bullshit. And so I'm just sitting here bleeding in my pad while we wait for the man to decide whether or not I can walk.
If anyone's interested in this saga of a story, I can make another video on it. Don't want to bore everybody with the details now, so let's just get back to talking about your surgery. It is important to note that if you do have any piercings, like me, I have about 13 or 14, you have to take all of those out, including all of your jewelry out before you even go to the hospital. They just don't want your jewelry floating around. You don't want your jewelry floating around. And also it is a hazard just in case they need to, like, for some reason, go in your ear and this piercing falls in there. I don't know, my doctor is very adamant that I just take everything out. It's also best to just leave all valuables, cell phone, clothes, your surgery pack, everything just with who's ever going to meet you in the recovery room, and they can bring all the valuables, your clothes and everything, snacks, food, whatever you like, into that room after you're done with surgery. So when you're approved and everything's all good, they'll take you back to the surgery sort of, I guess, prep room. You take off all your clothes, you're going to get into a hospital gown and underwear. They're going to take out anything in your hair, make sure your hair is up. I just put it up in like a scrunchy bun in the back just to keep it out of my way for everybody. You're then going to be rolled down the hall to speak to your anesthesiologist. Now, if you're like me, I'm very sensitive to pretty much all things, and especially synthetic drugs. So I made sure to tell my anesthesiologist that I have had poor reactions to that before, nausea, etc. So she was able to doctor the meds that she gave me to kind of fit my body. She used a lower dose, and she also did tell me that she inserted some sort of anti-nausea medication into my IV. So when I woke up, I didn't have any nausea symptoms. And after that, they will roll you into the operating room. I guess what I want you to know about the operating room and what I wish I knew about the operating room was there was like 10 to 15 people that I'd never seen before in my life in the room. So just picture yourself, you're basically naked, a very thin gown, and you just rolled in and like 10 heads are looking at you. That was a little shocking to me, and I wish I just would have known, because that was kind of unnerving before you go into that really sort of vulnerable, scary place. So just be aware that a lot of hospitals are training hospitals, and they might have a bunch of people in the room with you before they put you to sleep. Another thing that I didn't know anyone was going to ask me, but really wish I would have known, was my surgeon actually asked me before he put me to sleep what kind of music I wanted to be listening to and what kind of music I wanted to be playing as I had my surgery. I didn't have anything prepared, and I was obviously just really nervous, so I just said, I don't know, something chill? But if I would have known, I would have requested something, I don't know, like Blonde or Frank Sinatra or Lauryn Hill or some Etta James or something just more my vibe. But it doesn't matter anyways, because right when he asked me that, he put something on that I didn't know what it was, and then that's the last thing I remember. And I don't know if they do this at every hospital. I know that the Brooklyn Hospital Center in New York does this, and if you're getting your surgery with Dr. Cohen, he probably is going to ask you what music you like. So just have it in mind, just in case they ask. But yeah, basically after they asked me what music I liked, I didn't remember anything else until I woke up in the sort of pre-recovery room.
Okay, I want to pause myself here for a second because I want to show you guys what I said when I woke up after surgery. I think it's pretty brilliant, pretty hilarious, and I just want to drop it right here.
Here she is, folks. She made it. Do you want to say anything?
My Tinder profile is LA Final. Pretty good, right? All right, let's get back to the video.
But yeah, basically after they asked me what music I liked, I didn't remember anything else until I woke up in the sort of pre-recovery room where they just want to kind of make sure that you're waking up and everything's going okay. I think I did take a little bit longer to wake up, they said, than maybe normal. But again, I'm just very sensitive. And this is the room where they let my boyfriend at the time actually come in and say hi to me. And he was speaking to me, and the nurse actually had him leave because she just wanted me to relax. And I do remember it being pretty hard for me to even like engage with him because you're just so tired and in so much pain. That's really where the pain comes on, is in that little moment when they're administering your morphine. So she came over, she gave me my morphine drip, and then they give you this little almost like remote control that you can push every 10 minutes and re-administer your morphine to help manage your pain. So I'm not someone that likes to even take meds for my period cramps. But when you've just been sliced open and got bone marrow harvested and a synthetic disc that's in place in between your bones, this is just a different type of pain. And my suggestion here would be just don't be a hero. Just take the pain meds and take a lot of them. Of course, this is withstanding anyone that has addiction issues or is in a stage of their recovery where this wouldn't be safe for them. But if that's not an issue for you, just take the pain meds. I push the morphine button every 10 minutes for the first 2 days. That wasn't something I expected myself to do. But again, this pain is a different type of pain. Also, the most important thing for you to do after surgery is to rest. So if you're not able to sleep, get in a comfortable position, and just kind of wind down, your body is going to start tensing, and this can cause all kinds of other things you don't want, like blood clots and headaches, and just, you don't want it. So just take the drugs. So after I was done getting my morphine and kind of woke up and they were comfortable with me moving to a different room, they moved me to a private room, and that's where my boyfriend was able to come in, bring all my belongings and stuff as I kind of started to come around from everything. Now, one of the things I loved the most about the post-surgery sort of recovery regimen that the hospital does is most likely they're going to give you these like compression socks that go basically around your calves. They're warm and they sort of squeeze your calves like this every once in a while. And I don't know why, but I really liked them and I felt like they were so comforting and I just kind of never wanted to take them off. So hopefully you get those. And if you don't get those, maybe request them. Right after surgery, and pretty much for the first day, I wasn't really that hungry. I just snacked a little bit on some dried mangoes, which are like my favorite snack of all time, and drank some coconut water, make sure I was drinking tons of liquids. But I kind of just went in and out of sleep, and you're gonna be so exhausted, and just let yourself relax. Don't try to engage too much, just try to be quiet and meet your body where it is. Like I said, my boyfriend and I were lucky enough to get a private room. I know some other people that had this surgery did not get a private room. Mine was covered by my insurance, which was incredible. And my boyfriend was allowed to actually sleep in there every night with me. So they brought him this big sort of reclining chair thing, and that's where he slept right next to my bed, which was awesome because what you don't realize is that the physical therapist doesn't come in till the next morning, and you're obviously gonna have to pee before then, and just walking by yourself and sitting on the toilet by yourself for the first time post-surgery is pretty scary. I actually had the nurse help me the first couple times, and then after that my boyfriend helped me. And you have to also think you're going to be dragging this like IV drip with you too, so it's a lot of moving parts as you try to learn how to live in this new body that's, you know, weaker and just was traumatized and isn't allowed to bend, lift, or twist. The first night, I think I got decent sleep. I honestly was so out of it, I don't really remember. But the next day is when the physical therapist will come in at some point. And this is the time where they do get you out of bed and they try to see how you're doing walking, if you can walk down the hall a little ways. An occupational therapist will also come in and speak to you about, you know, putting on your own socks and what it looks like to put on a shirt and how you put a towel on, just these other sort of weird things that you don't think about all the time that when you're not allowed to bend, lift, and twist are very, very difficult. So they help you kind of work out how to do that. They also help you learn how to sort of feed yourself and how to turn and how to get out of bed, which is, I forget what this thing is called, but I'm going to insert a video here talking about it.
And this is where the log part of the log roll starts. So what she wants to do is reach with her hand over, at the same time pushing with this bent knee, and keeping that whole body rolling as one unit.
So yeah, once you learn how to do that little weird rolly move, then you can pretty much get up and down from anything, but it does take a little bit of time to get used to. The second day after surgery, I basically just slept and did PT and then watched a little bit of trash TV, and that's basically it. At night, however, I did start to notice my body getting really itchy. Until finally I was itching like completely uncontrollably to the point where even like my eyelids itched. And at that point I pushed the button and called for a nurse because I was getting a little concerned as to what was happening. Turns out I was having an allergic reaction to the morphine. So the nurse came back in, took me off the morphine, put me on some other hardcore pain med. I don't even know what she did. And then also put me on some Benadryl. Then she woke me up every hour about through the night and asked me how I was doing, any of the itching was lessening or getting worse. And that all kind of worked itself out after that night, but it was really uncomfortable, pretty like unnerving feeling. So just kind of be mindful if you start feeling off in a way, and there's no harm in always just calling a nurse and having them come check you out. I also, the third day, had a younger nurse that I'd never seen before come in and change my IV. And when she actually changed my IV, I screamed. And I don't know what she did, but she hit something in there and it was not good. I got a big bruise. It really, really hurt. I also had like this weird ball of like seemingly, I don't know what it was, scar tissue or something on the back of my hand where my IV was that hurt for like months after the surgery. So these are all things that very well might happen to you. You might run into other unfortunate things, but this is why I'm trying to prep you guys as much as possible and give you all the tools and resources that you need so that when these other little unfortunate things happen, you have your bigger stuff taken care of so it's not as stressful, if that makes sense. Okay, so on your final day of discharge, your PT will come in again. They'll run through some of the exercises with you, make sure that you're walking okay. This is when you want to make sure you have everything you need. So this is when you get the toilet seat riser. This is when you ask for a walker or a cane if you want one, or if your surgeons recommended them for you. My surgeons discouraged me from getting a walker. They really wanted me, maybe because of my age, to really get up and moving as soon as possible. And they didn't want my body to rely on anything else to kind of get back to its natural gait. And although maybe I would have felt more comfortable at the beginning with those things, I do think that it probably helped me recover and get stronger faster. So it's really up to your surgical team and up to you about what you feel comfortable with as far as walking right after surgery. this is also when you want to make sure that somebody comes in and fits you for your back brace. This is usually when you get your back brace, I think would be the last day. You really want to make sure that it fits you right, that it feels comfortable, and that everything's good and you understand kind of how it works before you leave the hospital. Walking for the first time post-surgery. It feels very weird, I'm not gonna lie. Your body is gonna feel very foreign to you, and walking is gonna be tough, but about after a week, you're gonna start to feel more comfortable with it, and you'll get the hang of it. On your way out, a nurse or a doctor is probably gonna offer you a wheelchair to leave the hospital. Now, take the wheelchair. I got a little too cocky on my last day, and the nurse told me that it was going to be about a 45-minute wait for my wheelchair to come. My boyfriend's dad was actually waiting outside. He drove from New Jersey because I was going to go recover there, and I felt bad making him wait, so I just said, nah, it's okay, I got it. No, I didn't. I didn't have it. I had to walk. I don't even know how far I had to walk, but at the time, for me, I felt like I had to walk miles. Basically, I had to go through an elevator. People are getting on, getting off, an escalator. You're really scared someone's going to hit you, going to knock you. You're moving like this. I was not ready to be walking that far. I shouldn't have been walking that far, and I really do regret not getting the wheelchair. So if you have to wait like an extra half an hour or something to get the wheelchair, just do it. It's just too much. You're not ready. Okay, my last and final tip for you for your surgery is to make sure you're asking what drugs are being given to you. Now, I noticed throughout this whole process that people were just kind of shoving drugs in my face, attaching things to my IV, and not telling me what I was getting or for what reason I was getting it, or maybe what even side effects it might have. Now, if you're someone like me and you're very sensitive and you're basically allergic to everything, you need to know what's making you feel a certain type of way, when it started happening. You need to be aware of all those things for yourself. And also for the future, if you have any other surgeries, to be able to tell them, hey, morphine makes my eyelids itch. You know, this is all important and valuable information. So make sure you just stop them and say, hey, I just want to know what are you going to hook me up to? What's that for? What are there any side effects, et cetera, to just make sure you are aware of what people are doing to your body. I also would say that there is little to no information that's going to be given to you about the meds that you're going to be taking home. So for me, I wanted to get off the pain meds as soon as possible just because I am so sensitive and I already knew I was going to have a bad reaction to them after getting off them. So I actually got off the pain meds the first night I got home. I took one and I never took any moving forward. Now, I will say that was a bit of a problem because I did actually experience withdrawal symptoms for 4 days. For me, that looked like a super racing heartbeat, cold sweats, feeling very anxious. I actually called the nurse's hotline and I told them what I was feeling, and they explained to me, yeah, honey, you're having drug withdrawals. They also said I should have never gone off cold turkey. You're supposed to wean off slowly. So what I should have done was maybe take the pain meds for the second day that I was home and then slowly back off for the next 4 or 5 days. I didn't do that. It wasn't a great experience. So maybe just talk to the nurses about what you're taking, talk to your surgeons about what you're taking, and figure out a way to slowly kind of wean yourself off the drugs so you don't have to experience withdrawal symptoms. All right, I think I told you guys most of what you need to know for the hospital and surgery experience. I hope this helps you guys feel more calm and empowered and at peace when you go in for your surgery day. All right, good luck. See you guys later.